The Bentley glided through the iron gates of the Ashford estate, its glossy black finish gleaming under the early morning sun. Inside sat Gregory Ashford, a man whose name echoed through Wall Street corridors like a legend. But today, there was no triumph in his eyes, only exhaustion. His 10-year-old daughter, Ella, had fallen into a deep, unexplained coma 2 weeks ago. The best doctors from Zurich, Tokyo, and Boston had been flown in. None had answers. Just theories, just pills, just silence. Gregory stepped out, clutching a coffee cup he hadn't sipped from. The housekeeper met him at the door with a familiar look, hope, laced with helplessness. But that morning, something was different. "Sir, there's a boy at the gate," she said, almost embarrassed. "He says he can help Ella." Gregory raised an eyebrow. "What boy?" "Homeless?" she added quickly. "Barefoot. Filthy." He said her name. Said she's waiting for him. Gregory blinked. His mind didn't know how to process it. But something, a flicker, perhaps born out of desperation, compelled him to walk to the intercom. There he was. On the black and white monitor stood a boy no older than 12. Skinny, ash-colored hoodie 3 sizes too big, face smeared with city dirt. But his eyes, there was something sharp, clear, unsettlingly calm in them. Gregory pressed the button. "What's your name, kid?" "Micah," he said. "Let me see her. I don't have much time." Gregory frowned. "She's not a display case, boy. Who told you to come here?" "No one," Micah replied. "She called me." Gregory's finger hovered over the button to dismiss him, but the boy leaned closer to the camera and said something that made the billionaire freeze. "She's scared of the man in the red hallway. That's why she won't wake up." Gregory's skin prickled. No one outside the house knew about the red hallway in Ella's recurring dreams, the ones she'd described just days before falling unconscious. Not even the doctors. No one. 5 minutes later, Micah stood at the edge of Ella's bed. She looked like a porcelain dollskin, pale, lips barely pink, chest rising in slow, haunting rhythms. Tubes snaked out from under the blanket. Machines beeped like distant drums counting down. Micah didn't speak for a moment. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath. Then, he placed his palm gently on her forehead. "What are you doing?" Gregory asked, standing near the door. "Listening," Micah whispered. Then, softly, he began to hum. Not a song, not a tune anyone recognized, but the air shifted. The beeping from the machines changed tempo. The lights in the room seemed to dim slightly, though no one had touched a switch. The housekeeper at the door crossed herself. Gregory stepped forward. "Stop, what is this?" "She's not here," Micah said. "She's caught." "Caught where?" Micah opened his eyes. "Between." The boy looked up. "If I go to her, I can guide her out, but when I come back, you have to promise me something." "What?" Micah's expression was grave. "Let me stay, just for a while, somewhere warm." Gregory hesitated. "You think I'm going to let a street kid just?" But then, for the first time in days, Ella's fingers twitched. Gregory went silent. Micah climbed onto the bed slowly, carefully. He leaned down, whispering into Ella's ear. "You don't have to be afraid anymore." Then, he closed his eyes again, and everything went still. For nearly 4 minutes, nothing happened. Not a breath, not a hum. Even the air in the room held its breath. Then Ella gasped. A short, sharp, desperate breath followed by the fluttering of her eyes. She blinked. "Daddy?" Gregory's knees buckled, and he stumbled toward her. "Ella?" Her voice was weak. "There was a boy. He found me. He said his name was Micah." Gregory turned toward the foot of the bed. Micah was gone. They searched the house, the grounds, even the gate cameras. Nothing. Not a trace. As if he'd never been there. For hours, Gregory sat by Ella's side, struggling to make sense of it. When he asked her what she remembered, her words chilled him to the core. "I was stuck in a hallway, Daddy. It was all red, and there was a man with no face. He kept saying I'd never leave. Then Micah came. He wasn't scared. He took my hand and showed me the door." Gregory didn't sleep that night. The next morning, a knock at the back service entrance startled the chef. When they opened the door, they found a pair of worn-out shoes and a note. It said in messy block letters, "I found her. I'll be back when the storm comes." No name, no address, nothing more. But Gregory knew. He called every resource he had, private investigators, journalists. No one could find a birth record, a shelter report, or even a security photo of the boy named Micah. Yet, over the next 3 weeks, whispers began to rise in different corners of the city. A little girl paralyzed from a fall suddenly moved her legs after a boy sang to her in the ER waiting room. An old man who hadn't spoken in 2 years looked up, smiled, and said, "Micah," after a barefoot child held his hand. Always barefoot, always vanished before anyone could stop him. People began calling him the Wake Walker. But Gregory never spoke publicly. He kept the story locked behind the tall gates of Ashford Manor. Until the night it rained. It was the first real storm in months. Thunder cracked like skyborne cannon fire. The wind screamed against the windows. Ella stood by the glass, now strong, playful, alive. "Do you think he'll come back?" Gregory knelt beside her. "I don't know." She smiled. "He said he would, when the storm comes." Then, just before lightning struck again, there was a soft knock at the front door. No one was standing there. But on the welcome mat was a folded blanket, and inside it, curled like a whisper, was a sleeping child. Micah. Soaked, barefoot, eyes closed. But this time, Gregory didn't hesitate. He lifted the boy gently and carried him in, wrapping him in warmth. Ella followed, quietly humming the tune Micah had once sung to her in the in-between. And outside, the storm began to fade. Gregory placed Micah on the living room couch beside the fireplace. The boy didn't stir, not even when dry clothes replaced his drenched hoodie, or when the housekeeper placed a warm bowl of soup nearby. His breathing was steady, peaceful, almost too peaceful, like someone who had crossed through something most couldn't return from. Ella sat beside him, legs crossed, her small hand clutching his. She didn't say a word. She just watched over him the way someone might watch a candle in the dark, afraid it might flicker out. When morning came, the storm had passed. Micah woke slowly, his eyes blinking against the soft amber light of dawn. For a moment, he looked confused then. Upon seeing Ella and Gregory beside him, he smiled. "You're safe now," he whispered. Gregory nodded. "So are you." Micah looked toward the window. "Not for long. Others are still trapped." Gregory's brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" Micah sat up. "She wasn't the only one. There are more. They call me in dreams. I hear them when the world sleeps." He spoke like someone far older than his years, like a child carrying a burden far too heavy but somehow walking with it anyway. "Why you?" Gregory asked. "Who are you?" Micah's gaze dropped. "I don't know where I came from, only that I wake people. I find them when everyone else gives up." Gregory placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Then stay here. Let me take care of you. You don't have to live on the streets anymore." Micah looked torn, eyes brimming with something like longing but also something older, deeper. "I want to, but if I stay, others stay lost, and I promised I'd keep walking." He stood. Ella stood too, grabbing his hand tightly. "You can't leave," she said. "You saved me." Micah smiled, pressing his forehead gently to hers. "Then remember that light. Remember the tune. Sing it for others when they're afraid. You don't need me to save them. Just believe they're not alone." Gregory reached into his coat pocket. "Then let me give you something." He pulled out a slim black card as personal emergency contact. "Anywhere, anytime. You need me, I'll come." Micah took it carefully. "Thank you, Mr. Ashford, not just for her, but for seeing me." He turned to the door. Gregory moved to stop him, but Ella gently grabbed her father's hand. "He'll be back," she whispered. "He always comes when it storms." And with that, Micah walked out into the rising sun, barefoot as ever, disappearing down the gravel road until he was just a blur on the horizon. Weeks passed, then months. And the story of Ella Ashford's recovery became legend in high society circles. Doctors couldn't explain it. Experts failed to diagnose it, but Gregory never corrected the rumors. Some things, he realized, were meant to stay between the lines of reality. Ella grew stronger, happier. At night, she kept the window slightly open just in case the wind carried Micah's voice back on a tune she could hum again. And Gregory? He built something. Not a monument, not a press release, but a quiet wing in his estate with one locked room. Inside was a bed, a closet full of clothes in every size, a stocked kitchen fridge, and above the doorway, carved into wood, for the boy who walks between worlds. It remained untouched for a long time, until the night another storm rolled in, dark and wild. And when Gregory opened the door just to check, the blanket was folded on the couch again, still warm, and on the table sat a hand-drawn picture of a smiling girl in a red hallway, holding the hand of a barefoot boy. The wake walker had returned.